Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the live virtual classes of ICAI. My name is Jyoti Singhal, and today we are doing business correspondence and reporting. The topic in discussion is reading comprehension. So I welcome you all to the afternoon session of today's class. I request all of you to quickly join, and we can then start with the session. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of people joining. Good afternoon. Dhairya, Ajitaba, good afternoon. Nikita, Jaspreet, good afternoon. Mansi, Dhyanesh, nice to have you all here in class. Okay, so I'm just waiting a couple of more and then we'll start. So just to give you an overview of today's class, we are doing a reading comprehension topic, which is a very important part of your business correspondence paper. The question which will be coming for the reading comprehension, it's going to be a compulsory question, so you don't even have a choice. You have to attempt it. And it's going to be like a big mark question, like a 5-marker question like we do in school. So please remember, you have to attempt it. And very importantly, I would like to have a small discussion with you before I actually get going with the session. Reading is something which I think since your school days, we all have been inculcating that please read as much as possible, read newspapers, read magazines. So that kind of instructions you all have been getting. So of course, my first question to all of you is, how many of you actually read and how many of you read what all stuff? Please, if you can tell me that. Yeah, I'm waiting for your answers. Please keep telling me what all do you read. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Nice to have so many of you in class. It's a warm welcome to me also. Chandan, Sumit, good afternoon. Richa, Sakshi, Priyanka, Mr. Reddy, everybody, welcome to the class. And can I start having your answers, please? What all do you read, if at all you read? And if you're not reading, can I also know the reason why you're not reading? I think reading is something which should be like a habit inculcated in us. You all should be reading one newspaper every day. There should be some time which you spend on your reading, which is not necessarily CA related, but also related to the other aspects. Maybe you're reading current affairs, maybe you're reading sports, maybe you're reading entertainment, maybe you're reading general philosophy, maybe you're reading only general knowledge books. So whatever you read, there should be some time which I am expecting, and I'm suggesting that you all have to invest in reading comprehension, because the first thing which you have to understand is in the exam. If I specifically speak from the exam point of view, in the exam, the reading comprehension passage which you will get need not be associated to only finance, only monetary issues, only GDPs, only bitcoins, only tax, only cryptos. No, there can be a wide variety of topics which the reading comprehension will be associated with. And in that regard, the more you have read, the easier it becomes to answer the questions. Because at the end of the day, I think it's all about answering the questions correctly and getting a full 5 on 5. And questions on RC are quite different. They ask you about synonyms, antonyms, phrases, proverbs used, etc., etc. So please remember, your reading practice is what exactly can be helpful to you. Okay, so let me see. Have I started getting answers? Great. Online articles. Okay, Bhumika, that's interesting. What specific online articles would you read? Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayur. Good afternoon, Om Prasad. Okay, Times of India. Mr. Reddy says that. Fine. Priyanka says books, magazines, articles. You read novels. Okay, Kushagra says novels. Great. Then some of you say newspaper. Okay, that's interesting. Shiba says she reads entertainment. Okay. What about entertainment, Shiba? Barna says I'm reading self-growth books. Okay, that's quite deep. And Mr. Reddy says English novels, journals, TOI, and you watch a lot of BBC. Okay, then there are people saying I'm not reading newspapers, but I watch finance, honor English movies. I'm sorry, but this question is specific to what are you reading. So even if you're watching BBC documentaries, even if you're watching Nat Geos, even if you're watching Star News, I wouldn't consider that. So I'm not concerned about what you're watching. I'm rather concerned about what are you seeing, or what are you reading. Okay. So let me tell you, we're going to divide this reading comprehension into 3 sessions. So today is, of course, the first one where I'm kind of getting to know all of you, how much you read, what all content you read, and we'll have a nice discussion on what is suggested reading. Then I'm going to meet you again with the second part of reading comprehension, and then there's a third part. So the whole reading comprehension lesson has been divided into 3 different parts. Okay, so first of all, it's an earnest request. You should be attending all the 3 sessions because every session is going to deal with something different. It's not going to be just passages reading. It's not going to be just a continuation, but there is something discrete I have planned for each of the sessions. And if anything gets into a miss for whatever reasons, if you're unable to attend the session, then of course the recorded lectures are available. You can post your queries. I'll definitely try my best to answer as many queries as possible. And of course, I would expect you to attempt the questions, practice things which I will be discussing right now. So during the class also, we'll have a discussion. And after the class also, I'll give you a small task to read. And then when we meet in the next class, of course, we're going to discuss that. Okay, fine. So a lot of answers coming in. Interesting. Logesh, in shorts. What in shorts? English songs. Oh, interesting. But why? How is it related to reading if you're seeing and listening to Indian English songs? Okay, Ankit, that's interesting if you're watching, if you're reading Economic Times. Business and some other time than business. Bhumika, what does that mean? Some other time than business? Okay, so I'll give you a small, a brief suggestion before I actually start sharing my slides. First thing is read at least 500 words of something substantial every day. You mark my words, this is not just for your business corresponding and reporting exam, but it's going to take you a long way, even when you become an established CA, even when you have your own practice, even when you join likes of Deloitte and PwC, whatever you do in your life, even if you leave CA for some chance, you're going to be really, really grateful if you think you have read a lot. Reading is the only mantra to actually exponentially increase your knowledge and your wisdom. And that's the reason why I say don't stick to a particular genre. Read about all the very things you have around you. And resources are not in dearth. There is so much you can read. So first is read at least 500 words every day. Okay. Second thing, try and read from a hard copy. When you read from a book or a notebook or a page or a newspaper or a magazine, which is specifically a hard copy, the registration of the content in your mind happens more than it does when you're reading online, when you're reading from screen. Right now, we're having a virtual class, so you don't have a choice. So you definitely have to read through the screen I'm sharing. But when you are doing it as a practice on your own, then it's highly advisable that sit with a book in hand, sit with a flashcard if you're doing vocabulary words, sit with a newspaper, sit with a journal. That reading will help you manifold as compared to reading from screen. And third and last but not the least, read variety. Don't restrict yourself to any particular genre. I'm going to read only about business. I'm going to read only about finance. I'm going to read only about sports. I'm going to read only fiction. That kind of a restriction is actually curtailing your mental growth and your understanding of passages. I already told you passages will not be from one particular area. Passages will be from across the content domain. For that reason, I request you read variety. Okay, so having said those 3 things, I think we'll start the session formally. So let's, okay, it's a news reading application. Okay, see, that's what I'm saying, Logeshwaran. in shorts is the app you are reading. I got that. Thanks for that clarification. But I am saying read a lot of hard copy material. Reading from an NDTV app or reading from some CNBC app is not proper reading. A news article to be read with eyes and paper, and an article which is as long as like 200 words, that's what will bring a difference in you. If you read like, a two-line news and you say, okay, I read the news and I know everything, that's not actually going to help you. Okay. So for that reason, I'm saying please read as much as possible from a paper. Cool. Okay. Fine. Any other questions? Not yet. Okay. So I'll keep coming to the questions in some time. Don't worry about that. Fine. So now I'll start the actual class where I'm sharing my screen, and I'm going to take you through all the nuances of reading as much as possible in this 2-hour session. I hope all of you are with me, and for any help, there is a query thing you can write to me. I'll be happy to help you. Okay, let me just see if there is anything else which has come up in terms of questions. Okay. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible enough. Yeah, so this is what we're going to start with. The first is the need for reading. Okay. 1 week in can I be able to clear BC&R? So that's a very, I think that's not a very right question to ask. Why do you want to study only for a week to clear the base BC&R exam? Why not study more than a week? I mean, see, you guys have to understand the importance of the paper. Don't just write the exam because it's a compulsory exam and you need to get a passing mark score. No, that's not the way you should attempt any paper. It's a good exam. It kind of, takes care of many dimensions of a person. It enables you good thinking, it enables you good writing, it enables you a good vocabulary. So please don't restrict yourself to studying only for a week. That will not help you clear the exam. I'm being very blunt, it's not going to help you. Okay. Abhishek, I think we're just doing reading comprehension today, so I won't be able to help you doing writing skills in this class. Of course, there are other classes designated for writing, so whenever we have that, I think that would be the best time to discuss writing skills. Okay. What else? Okay, so Sanket, since you are from a Marathi medium, it's perfectly fine. But I think if you're attempting the paper in an English medium, then even if you start with small story books, Akbar Birbal stories, Tenali Rama stories, Panchtantra stories, Aesop's fables, then, some fairy tales, even if you read some Hindu mythology in English, if you start from these basic stories also, you're going to come to a certain level which will help you attempt the paper in English very well. Okay, Sanket? Okay, fine. So the slide is visible. Let's move on. So the first aspect is, what is the need for reading? Many people come and ask me, why should I read? I'm doing CA. How is reading going to help me? Why should I read a newspaper to be a CA? CA exams don't test me on this. I would rather read about direct and indirect tax. And that's a separate thing altogether. To understand the question, to understand a case study, you need basic understanding of English. And to understand the basics of English, you need to be giving a lot of time towards reading. So the first aspect of why you should read is to understand the given text. Now, when you have a survey report in front of you, when you have a case study in front of you, or if you're working in an office and your boss comes and throws a pile of reports, okay, just go through the reports and give me a summary. If you cannot understand the text itself, if you cannot understand the report itself, what summary are you going to give? Isn't it? So since anything which you are being thrown at will have different lens, it will be about different topics, it will be about different issues, political, economical, financial, social, everything mixed together maybe. If you are unable to actually comprehend anything out of it, how do you think you're going to put back your answer? How do you think you're going to take a decision? How do you think you can express? So opinion making is very important at a certain stage of life when you are an established CA and you still can't make opinions because you can't read a certain text. It's not very good. It's not healthy on your part. So for that reasons, you need to read so that your understanding level increases. Okay, that's my first point. Shazin, I think I just now told you why do you need to attempt a BCR paper, because it's all about language. The whole system is suddenly moving towards communication. The whole system of working in a good MNC or even having a practice of your own. If you have to understand a client who's probably coming from a foreign location, you need English as the language. If you need to understand a case study which is given in English, you need to understand the words behind the case study. You need to take a decision. You need to write an email to somebody. You need to take down minutes of a meeting. How would you do that? So the BCR paper is taking care of all these things, right? From good grammar to good reading to taking down things which come under the official business communication domain. For example, minutes of a meeting, for example, pressy writing, for example, report writing, for example, email writing. These are things which you're going to require on a day-to-day basis rather on a minute-to-minute basis when you are in office. So that's the reason why we have the BCR paper. Okay? Okay, fine. Om Prasad, see, simple English is something which you can start only when you start speaking it on your own. So if you're not speaking in English, then I think it'll be a problem. You really have to speak, you really have to indulge in that activity to learn it. You can't learn swimming by just sitting on a chair. You need to get into the pool, you need to get into deep waters to actually learn swimming. It's the same with language. Okay? So I'll just move my slide. I hope the first example is visible. Can you all give me a quick thumbs up saying my slide has changed and you're able to see my slide, please? Okay, so what I'm asking you is I would request all of you to read this first example. There are some words which I have underlined here. In almost every line, there is a word. So can you please tell me the meaning of the word once you are done with the reading? Take any amount of time you need to read, but please read the passage and tell me in one line what do you think the passage is about, your understanding of the passage. It's a very simple passage. It's a very easy passage. I haven't made any difficult words here. I haven't used any rough language. So I think you should be able to answer me as quickly as possible. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Kushagra, Priyanka, Shiva, for telling me. Yes, it has changed. Okay, thank you, Sangeeta. Thank you, Dhyanesh. That's so sweet of you. Thanks for telling me. So the slide is visible. And what should I read to improve my English? Okay, simply read a CBSE textbook. That's enough. Read a newspaper. That's enough. So, resources are galore. Resources are in plenty. You just have to pick up something, write, and start reading. So if you read only a newspaper, that's also perfect. If you read a small English textbook of grade 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's also okay. Because at the end of it, it's reading. Okay? Okay, so quickly read this example. The coconut is the biggest of all nuts. And quickly tell me, what does the passage mean? Is it, Mohammed? I think nobody has complained about my volume, so I thought it's pretty high. Okay, I've just increased it a couple of points, then maybe now I'm audible. So the slide is visible in full screen and I hope it's readable. So it's about coconuts. Okay, fine, Kushagra, something more. That's like a very simple statement to say it's about coconuts. What more can you tell me about the passage? Is there something specific it's dealing with coconuts, or it's just like a story behind coconuts, some fact about coconuts? That's what I'm expecting. So what else can you tell me? Please concentrate on the underlined words. There are slender, there's tropic, there's a crown of large feather-like leaves, then there's yield, then there's bunches. Okay, source of coconut. Okay, 3 people. Okay, Sasi, yeah, Mrs. Sashi, your Answer is coming like 3 times. You can just stick to once. Okay. Kojima, your answer is fine. Vinita, okay, fine. Hriday, Shambhavi, Shazeen, fine. So most of you have understood that the passage is about coconuts, and if you really see, it's giving you a lot of facts. So this is a factual based passage. That's what you need to understand. Any topic which is out of the blue, suddenly I'm talking about coconuts, tomorrow I'll talk about apples, third day I'll talk about kiwis. Anything I'm talking about, if it has numbers and figures and it's giving me some truth, maybe I've taken these things from a source, then these are called factual passages, which is telling me all the details about a coconut. From the fact that where is it grown, where do I find it, how will the tree be, what is the annual yield, and how long does the coconut tree continue to yield fruits. So all what you can understand about a coconut tree, from the X to the Y, from the A to the Z, this is what we see here in the coconut passage. Okay, fine. Okay, so all of you have got this right. This is about a coconut tree. Now, I don't know if you would ever have read this, because we always think, why should I know about a coconut tree? It's not going to help me in the CA section. It's not going to help me become a CA faster. But the idea is your reading has widened, so you know the usage of certain words. You know the usage of a word like slender. You know the usage of a word like yield, and that enables you to use and inculcate this vocabulary in your spoken language. Fine. Okay, moving on to the second example. Now, this is something which is typically from the economics section. So it's about capital formation. This has a title, so I'm not asking you what this passage is about. But if you have to summarize this passage in one line, what will be your answer? One or two, that's okay. Even 2 lines is perfect. If you have to summarize this passage in 2 lines, how will you do it? That's what I want to know. Please start reading, and it's just this page. The next is the next example. I just have this slide with hardly 7 to 8 lines. Okay, some issue with the app. It shows your name as Kojima. Okay, that's strange. Abdul Kadir. Fine, no problem. I'll address you as Abdul. Okay, correct. Bhumika, Shazeen. Okay, fine. Your answers are correct. So you've answered correctly till the time it was the coconut passage. Now I want you to move on to the next passage, which is on capital formation. Can you please tell me what is this passage about in 2 lines? 2 lines means 2 lines. I'm not even giving you an extra word. I'm not even giving you an extra line. 2 lines means 2 sentences, 1 sentence, full stop, 1 sentence. That's it. That's how specific you have to be when you are like made to shorten a report, when you are asked to write a précis. All these things you learn gradually. So I'm just trying and focusing on that aspect also. Within just 2 sentences, tell me what is this example 2 about? Quickly read it. I'm waiting. Some mention of the World Bank, some mention of gross domestic savings, some mention of insufficient capital. Then there is something about primary culprit. What do you think is a culprit, or who do you think is a culprit? Can somebody try to answer, please? Who is a culprit? Done, everybody? Okay. Role of capital formation in the economy. That's what Dhyanesh says. Okay. Abdul says capital formation plays an important role in the developing economy. Okay. Good afternoon, Shailendra, joining pretty late. Capital formation refers to the physical as well as human resources. It leads to the economic development of a country. Very well explained, Priyanka. Why capital formation is important. It also tells what all is included in capital formation. So what all is included, you have to mention that. Okay, Hriday. So when you say what is the passage about, the passage is about what, like, I really like Priyanka's answer. She's saying capital formation refers to the physical as well as the human resource. Full stop. It leads to the economic development of a country. Full stop. So two sentences, and she's kind of got the crux of the passage. So when I ask you to tell me about the passage in 2 lines, you basically have to tell me what is the crux of the passage. Okay, it's just nothing like a summary. Mayur, does it tell you only about gross domestic savings? That's kind of the last sentence of the passage. What more? Role of capital in an economy. Okay, Muhammad. Dhyanesh, is it difficult to read? Is it not coming clearly? Role of capital formation in economic development, the negative cause behind the happening of anything foul. Oh my God, Kushagra, where did you get all this from? Where is the capital formation aspect? Where is the domestic product aspect? Where is the physical capital aspect? There is so much about economy. There is so much about development. There is so much about the GDPs, but there's nothing about the negative cause, foul things. You are, I think, going on a different realm. Please stick to the kind of words used in the passage. That's going to be very helpful. Culprit means guilty. Very good. Hriday, well done. Okay, Priyanka, a person who is doing something wrong. Okay, Nikita, thanks for that. Okay, Mayur, got it. Jaspreet says capital formation plays a crucial role in economic development as it includes physical resources, that is tools, machines, as well as human resources, that is skill and health. Isn't that a line straight away taken from the passage? This passage is about how capital formation plays an important role for economic development and includes HR. Okay, Shazin, I can take that. Abhishek, yours is also fine. Okay, good. Good afternoon, Hera. It's not good morning, and you're pretty late to join. Okay, cool. So I think you all have understood the passage. I'm pretty happy about it. It's visible, right? Thank you, Priyanka. So I think who was, yeah, culprit question is fine, Kushagra. It's correct. Somebody, oh, okay. I'm so sorry. You meant that anything, that foul thing you said. The negative cause behind the happening of anything foul. I think it's the person itself who's committed something wrong is known as the culprit. So doing something foul itself means you are a culprit. Okay. I think you kind of explained it over for me. That's why I did not understand. Okay. So I think Dhyanesh, if it's visible, I don't need to zoom in because then the whole setting will change if I really have to zoom the whole slide. Okay, so this is a good answer. I think most of you have understood. So full marks to all of you for this first attempt of 2 examples. The coconut one, which was a little general, which was just on the, a very lighter basis. And this second one, which is more about the capital formation, which probably relates to our subject. Okay, moving on, please. Example 3. Now here you see the difference in the 3 examples is, in the first example, it's just like 6 lines. It's a very short passage. It's a 6-line passage, and even the topic on which it's based, it's very, very simple. Okay. Then comes passage 2. Passage 2 talks about capital formation. What exactly is the role of capital formation in the development of a country? For example, India maybe. It talks about what are the things included in the capital formation. It includes weapons, tools, machines, factories, etc., which are known as the physical resources. And it also includes human resources, wherein the knowledge of a person, the works, the skills, the health concerns, everything comes into consideration. So that's the human resource. And the most important process of accumulating physical capital is increasing the volume of the real domestic savings, which means we also have a small reference to the World Bank. The household sector as in homes with their own resources, with their own enterprises, they are acting as the biggest contributor to the gross domestic savings in India. Fine. So this is a passage which is a little more detailed than the first one. But if you see the placement of sentences, it's like 2 lines, then the paragraph changes 1 line, the paragraph changes 1 line, the paragraph changes. So there is equal spacing. And the more spacing there is, the more easy it is to register in our mind, because we don't have much of content thrown on our faces. But now we come to the third slide. Please have a look at the third slide. Oh my God, the moment I see this, I'll say, oh my God, 6 lines here and then 10 lines in the next paragraph. So like 2 full paragraphs, so many words thrown at me. This becomes a little difficult because there is so much content on the slide. So when you see a passage like this, first of all, don't assume things to be difficult. That's a request. Okay, these things are not difficult, just that you need more concentration and focus to read them. Okay, quickly, please start reading. Navkar, the language or the mode of teaching BC&R papers has to be English. So unfortunately, I will not be able to use Hindi in this class. Okay, please excuse me for that. My whole idea is that you all should be like, experts in English. So if I myself start using Hindi, then I will be diluting the purpose of having a class like this where I'm teaching in Hindi and then you're answering in Hindi. So how do I make you attempt the paper in English? Okay, don't worry. I'll try my best to explain things. Smriti, what is the concept you're not understanding? You didn't understand the passage. Okay, Nikhil, correct answer. Moving on, quickly moving on. Third passage is already on the screen. Weightage of what, Samir? See, any questions related to marks weightage, question paper pattern, how many questions, everything is there on the website. Please go through the Cloud Campus. There are RTPs, there are MTPs, revision test papers, mock test papers. Everything will give you a fair idea about what is the weightage of an RC question, what is the weightage of a Prezi writing question, what is the time limit allotted for the paper. I think those technical aspects you all can find out yourself. Instead of I answering that or any other faculty answering that, I think I really request you, if you can just go through the website and look at these, you'll easily get them. Okay? Okay, that was pretty fast, Shiba. It is about communication skills. How many of you think you are good at communication skills in English if I ask you specifically? Good in communication in English? So if I ask you to, like, let's say I'll give you a small topic. Let's say I'll give you a topic like elections in Uttar Pradesh. So would you want to speak on this topic for like 5 minutes? How many if you think you have a good communication skill, so you can converse or you can indulge in a 5-minute conversation on a topic like this, or let's say the IPL, or let's say maybe let's say the recent budget given by Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Can anybody tell me about that? So these are ways to judge whether you can communicate in a certain flow. These are ways to judge whether you can actually speak at length with fluency and explain your idea and yet make sure that you are speaking in English. Then I will say you have good communication skills, which is, of course, the main crux of this third example. Very good, Priyanka. Great. I can get good answers. Okay, power of words, wonderful. Shiba, very good. Sonali, very good. Good. So good going, girls. I'm getting all correct answers. Sonali. Abhi, very good. Abhi, good to hear. Okay. So some of you have definitely raised your hand saying that yes, you can read and you can communicate very well. That's very good. Happy to know that. So please keep up that aspect, keep communicating, talk as much as possible, communicate in the English language, which is definitely going to be helpful even when you enter into the corporate world, even when you start your own practice, because there's so much you will have to speak. And I think the power of words will be understood when you actually get into that speaking habit every day. So you meet people of different various backgrounds, you meet people from diverse backgrounds. How, when, where, what to speak is actually the art of speaking. It's okay, Priyanka. I think this is another Priyanka. You want to indulge in communication, but have an average communication skill. That's okay. Not everybody was born with expertise, right? You need to develop your expertise over a period of time. So, what you can do is stand in front of the mirror, take up one topic, and just speak on the topic for 5 minutes. I think that's going to be a very good confidence booster and also a good practice. Okay. Okay, Samir, that's good, but how young is your sister? It also depends on the kind of company you have and the kind of people you are interacting with. So if you're speaking to somebody who's just like a kid, I think that conversation wouldn't help you at this point of time. You should be speaking to somebody who's already an expert or who's also learning. So with two learners, the learning happens better rather than just speaking with somebody who you think doesn't even know the language. Yes, think before you speak. Very good. Ayushi, the passage is about that. Okay, well answered. Okay, Ayushi is right. Bhumika is right. It's about communication as a very powerful tool. It's also telling you how you should think before you express yourself. Speak when you have to add value, else refrain. That's like one of my favorite quotes, you can say, the second line of the second paragraph. You're not supposed to speak unnecessarily. Else refrain means otherwise just keep quiet, just keep mum, don't talk. Okay. See, a lot of stress is being given to communication. So even when you're writing emails in office, when you are, writing reports in office, it says every word of your email should be twice checked. That's a very, very important thing. Like many times we tell you, check your papers before you submit them. It's just like that. Every word in an email should be checked twice because emails have become such a strong source of communication that anything, even a word which goes wrong, can hint at something completely different, and the communication goes in a very different path. So by the time you are just about to finalize a merger, suddenly one line in in the email can be so misleading. The whole process has to be started again. That's why this passage, I'm sharing this passage. Speak, read, listen. All these things should be done in a certain balance. And such is the power of communication that you definitely need to hone your communication skills for better understanding, for better learning, and for better interaction. Okay? Haha, yes, it's the first chapter. It's okay, Bhumika. Understanding English is also a very important aspect. Importance of listening and speaking. Okay. So Ajit Abha, Shambhavi, Hari Om, Samir, Nikhil, Hriday, Bhumika, Priyanka, Sangeeta, and Shazeen, and two Priyankas in class today. Vinita, Ayushi. Okay, so all of you have given me a wonderful explanation about this passage. So, first things first, I think you all have a good command over reading the English language. That is not a problem because sometimes I share these slides just to understand what is your level. Do you actually understand the passage? Or you're facing issues with the content. So, since you've been able to tell me about the passage, I can easily accept and I can easily comprehend that your understanding is not that bad because I've taken you through three different passages and I've understood that you've been able to actually win over all the three. So, good job, guys. Wonderful. I really like that. So, let's move on. Okay. Now, so if you remember, we were talking about the need for reading. So in the first slide, we discussed it's about understanding the text. Okay. Now, this is the second slide, which talks about the need for reading is to be a good reader. So, how do I be a good reader? Why will anybody say that, yes, Jyoti is a good reader? Is it because she reads a lot? Or is it because she reads between the lines and she's able to understand anything which is given to her? So, there are two things. It's not about the quantity you read, it's about the quality. So if I give you a poem, for example, if I give you a poem by let's say Mark Twain, an American poet, or if I give you a poem by William Shakespeare, the English famous English bard, he's like the father of English literature kinds. Will you be able to comprehend? Yes, fine. So you have a good understanding of language. Will you be able to comprehend anything given to you? That can happen when you're reading a lot and when you're reading a variety. So it's not the quantity which matters. Like, I read like 5 newspapers today and I'm reading HT and I'm reading Times of India, I'm reading The Hindu, I'm reading the Indian Express. All that is okay. Very good. I really appreciate what all you're reading. But how much of it is actually getting into your head? So to be a good reader, you have to read between lines. You have to understand what is the message behind what the author has written. So for that reasons, you should be reading stuff and content which enables you a critical analysis, which is giving you a reason to think twice, which is making you form a decision or an opinion of your own. If you are reading that kind of a stuff, then you will become a good reader, and you definitely will become a good reader. Okay? Shiba, yes, true. Okay. So no such questions. Pallavi too. Yeah, Pallavi too. Yes, of course, Pallavi too. Great. So I know many of you, somebody's writing, I think Abdul is writing, we often communicate in English when it comes to your friends circle, which is wonderful, which is, I think, a very easy way of enhancing your communication skills. Okay. So this is what I was telling you about how to be a good reader, and I think it's a very simple slide. Slides should always be self-explanatory. Whenever you come to a presentation, and maybe I see you later also in any of your courses, during the MCS or OC, please remember slides should be very self-explanatory. If I have to explain a slide, then I've actually diluted the purpose of making a slide. Okay, this is example 4. Now in example 4, the only difference is it has a lot of bullets and there is less content but heavy content. Okay, so in the earlier slides, content was maybe more like 10 lines, 12 lines, 15 lines in paragraphs, but the weightage, the concreteness was light. Here, the content is heavy, but it's easy to read because it is in bullets. So you can see 5 bullets, 4 bullets. That makes the reading a little easier and a little faster. Faster is okay, but the understanding should not get disturbed. All of you, please remember. If you read quickly and say, okay, I read it in 20 seconds and I'm done with it. No, don't show off. That's not required. I want you to understand the passage. Right now, I'm not giving you questions, but later you might have questions based on that. Then how are you going to do it? Okay, so quickly read the passage. Then I'll ask you questions from the passage. Okay, that's the only way where I can check your understanding. You actually understand, or you just said, okay, this is about dreams, this is about psychotherapy, this is about serving a purpose, this is about sleep. I don't want those very standard childish answers. I want you to answer my questions based on the passage. Quickly read it, please, and tell me when you have done reading. The language is fun. You have to appreciate language to enjoy it. Read 500 words every day. Learn a new word every day. Use the new word next day. That's how your vocabulary increases. That's how your understanding of the language increases. That's how you start enjoying reading. Very good, Samir. That's nice to hear that you have a hobby to read and read so much. Don't just watch, you read. I'll give you a simple example. Suppose today, if I ask you something about a Harry Potter story, most of you will say, we have seen the Harry Potter series. I'm not even concerned about what you have seen. I am more concerned about, have you read? If you have read the book, that's going to make a difference for me than having seen all the series. Okay, is this done? Have you finished reading this? Please quickly give me a thumbs up, then I'll move forward. Have you all finished reading this kind of heavy passage, I think? Is it difficult? You must be wondering why am I giving you all this, but it's okay. Please bear with me. It's going to be interesting. Psychotherapy, what is psycho? Psycho relates to mind, therapy relates to treatment. Any therapy, any treatment which relates to mind development and mind correction is called psychotherapy. Simple. Okay, done, done, done. Riddhi, Nikita, Vinita, great. Thank you, girls. What about the others? Have you finished reading? Okay, so Riddhi, Nikita, and Vinita, have you understood? Or is it just done, done, done? Something more than understanding? Okay, finished reading. I think I've given you enough time. There wasn't that much of content also that you're taking so much time. Okay, great. Thank you so much. It was interesting. Somebody says that. I think Sarthak says that. Thank you, Sarthak. I've really done a lot of effort in finding out some very good passages. So thanks for putting that. Bhumika Dhyanesh. Okay, Chandan says yes. Bizarre is strange. Bizarre means weird. Okay, cool. Yes, very true, Abdul. There's a lot of information which is there in books which gets like misleading and wrongly conveyed when it comes to movies. So you should actually read books and not watch movies. Okay, so now that all of you have done, Ankit has done, Naveen has done, Sarthak has done, Muhammad has done, all of you have done. Fine. Okay, now quickly tell me, if I ask you to give me a title to the passage, what will it be? A title should be something which forces me to read the passage, not like, stay away from it and like avoid reading the passage. A title should be something which is the most catchy, gripping, most interesting part of it, and everybody should want to read the passage once you read the title. Quickly give me a nice, catchy, gripping, interesting, unique title for the passage. Can all of you try, please? Very good. Ayushi, read and understood. Wonderful. Shambhavi, read and understood. Done, ma'am. Priyanka, very good. Yes, Riddhi, thank you so much. Okay, Om Prasad, done. So you all have done reading and have also understood, which is like, well done, guys, reading and understanding. Now I want a title. Quick, 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 one title. Any understanding of a passage is always judged first when you are able to give it a topic. So if there is a title you can give me which is relevant enough to explain what's there in the passage, then I will give you like at least 3 out of 5 if the title is correct. And then if you answer the questions correctly, you get a 5 on 5. Okay. Okay, so I've started getting some answers. Let me just read them out. Okay, Mayur. Everyone has dreams. If I see this title, I will say, so what? What can I do about it? So this is more like part of a sentence than being the title. A title should be a sentence or a catchphrase in itself. It should not need a continuation. Everyone has dreams because so and so and so and so and so. It's it kind of stretched like a sentence. So I really would expect if you can change it, please. Uh, some of you, psychotherapy or story of dreams. Okay, Dhyanesh, I'll go with that. Abdul says dreams live your desires. Fine. Abhi says dream. Dream world. Vinita says no. Mayur, is it about night wish? I mean, where do you think it's about night specifically? It's not about night specifically, so please change. Again, only dream is not something I would want to read. Only dream or dreams, no. Please change your topic. Dreams, unconscious activity. Okay, Naveen, I can still take yours. Dream and its causes. Guru Prasad. This looks like a science chapter then, cause and effect of electricity, cause and effect of light traveling in a straight line. Please. Kiran says dream. Will you ever want to read a passage which says dream? I thought you want to give me something really interesting. You want people to read your passage, or you want people to throw your paper in the dustbin and not read your passage? If you want people to read, the title is the first thing which appeals to somebody. So give me a title, sorry, which is forcing me to read. Oh no, I'm going to not eat food, I'm not going to study, but I want to read this because the title itself is so catchy. Bring that feeling. Dreams in mind. Okay, facts about dreams. Kushagra, very good. Dreams unfolded. Wonderful. The dream world. Okay, correct. Sarthak, what is yours? I haven't checked. Yeah, okay, wait. Dreamers of life. Is it about dreamers of life, Riddhi? Is it about dreams? Know the dream. Okay, Sumit, I can still go with your psychology of dreams. Okay, Sanket. Dream is the outcome of vision. Okay. Theory of dreams, dreams and their truth, imaginary dreams. What do you mean by imaginary dreams? Dream itself is something which we imagine in our mind because we're not awake. And it's an activity which happens when you're asleep. So you don't need to say imaginary dreams. Okay. That's like a strange placement of the word imaginary. Dream is wings. Why, Om Prasad? Why is dream wings? Can you explain, please? Ankit says the dreams that we see, okay, dream part of the sleep cycle, okay, Shambhavi. Psychotherapy, no, Abhi. Psychotherapy is not something which is like the main story of the passage. Is it that? What is the theme of the passage? Dreams, isn't it? So just you can quote unquote and say the dreamy world, which is the dreamy world, quote unquote. Then you say dreams, a mysterious fact. Dreams and dreams unfolded by the scientists. Dreams, colon, something which we yet need to decipher. Or next can be deciphering dreams. Or next can be what is there behind a dream, question mark. Next can be dreams, reasons unknown, exclamation. Okay, so you can have various options possible, but your title should catch the length and the breadth and the depth of the story which is mentioned in the passage. Only then you want to justify it. Okay, I think I've like really spent a lot of time on dreams and all this. So dream, the truth about them. Dreams, what exactly are they? Question mark. Dreams unfolded and folded. What are dreams? Question mark. The truth about dreams! Exclamation. The mystery behind dreams! Exclamation. Understanding dreams! Exclamation. These are some topics. Okay. Okay. Good to hear that, Samir. Interesting. Okay. Good. Got it. So I don't want you to get into the nitty-gritties of why do we get dreams, because we're not discussing psychology here. Dreams and all that come under the aspect of psychology. So you really need to understand the human brain to understand why a person is dreaming in a certain way. I'm not interested in that, but what I'm interested in, if you've understood the passage and you're able to give me a good title, my work is done. So thumbs up for that. Okay. Quickly, need for reading 3. Thank you so much all for attempting this title question. And this is the third slide about the need for reading, the third part. Now, to critically analyze the text, can you see this image when a child is reading and there's like so much going on in his head? There's a spaceship, there's a UFO, there are equipments in science, there is textbook, there is genes, and there is submarines, and there is who, what, there is ABC, there is trigonometry, there is tax, there is audit, there are Excel sheets, there are balance sheets. So much is going on in this child's head who's reading from a book. So why am I reading? Because I want to critically analyze it. Critical analysis is I should be able to give an opinion after I read, and I should be learning something practical. There should be rational learning. There should be scientific learning. There should be objective-based learning rather than only theory. Even if I sit and understand direct tax and I read it 3 times, but I'm unable to calculate the direct and the indirect tax, it's of no use. Theories don't help. What is GST? I can write a passage, but when it comes to actually calculating GST or other taxes, am I able to do that? I'm reading a lot on cryptocurrency. Can I go and deliver a seminar and explain what is cryptocurrency? That is critical analysis. So I should be in a position where I can place myself as an expert or like a semi expert in that field, and I can deliver a lecture on that topic, and I can tell you the pros and cons, I can tell you the good and bad, I can weigh both sides of the coin, I'm analyzing the content. Then that makes me a good reader. So, this is the third need why you need to read. This is the third need for reading, to critically analyze a text. What is behind the text? Why did the author say so? What makes him think like this? How would this happen? When would this not happen? All those questions, if are being answered, you are critically analyzing it, and then you become a good reader. Okay, got it? So till now, I have kind of discussed three different needs for reading. Okay, you have to develop and understand these needs. You have to create these needs, and you have to go ahead and read a lot. If you are able to do that, even by the third class when I'm meeting you, like today I'm meeting you, I'm meeting you another second session, I'm meeting you another third session, if you are able to do that in the third session also, and if I get a wonderful answer that we guys have all started reading, that's when I think I have put in that need for reading or that seed for reading in you, and my job is done. Okay, guys. So very good. Thanks for being so proactive. I really like, your comments are like running through. So much of you, so many of you have written so much in the chat box. Very good. Thank you so much for all the answers. So this brings us to the end of the session of need for reading. This is a topic which I would obviously want you to read, globalization. It's a long passage, so you can see it's across 2 slides. Okay, moving on, we'll have the need for reading 4, which I'll discuss with time. Right now, what I want you to do is simply read this passage, take your time, and then we take a small 5 minute break. We'll rejoin after 5 minutes. Then I'll actually ask you how much of it did you understand. So before we take a break, all of you, please read this passage. When you finish this slide, you can quickly tell me. I'll change the slide because the passage continues on the next slide. Open businesses, improve technological growth, etc. at the level for, okay. So is the way. So first of all, the first word tells me it is about globalization. It is the way in which manufacturers and producers of the products or goods sell their products globally without any restrictions. So another key word is sell their products. It provides huge options to businessmen. So it's something about providing huge options to businessmen as they get low cost labor in poor countries easily. Okay, so I'm not going about the discussion. It's not visible. Is it visible now? Ayushi and Bhumika? Just see if it's visible. Now can you see? Okay, so let me do one thing. I think, okay, it's visible. Okay, now some of you are saying not visible, some of you are saying visible. So what should I do? Now it's visible. Alok says not visible. Just give me a minute. I think you're just taking some time because of maybe the slow internet. So just give me some time because I think I'm sharing the screen as always. So there's no change on my side. Okay, finish reading the passage quickly. This much. And what I'll do is, let me do something. I'll come back to the passage. I think there's too much of content you guys have read. So what I'll do is, let's take a 5 minute break. Fine. Once we rejoin after the 5 minute break, we'll again come back to this passage of globalization. I'll give you enough time to read, and then you're going to tell me what is it about, and of course the extra questions and the detailed questions which follow up. Okay. So see you in 5 minutes. We'll rejoin, and I would really like all of you to rejoin. Thank you so much. break. I hope you are all there with me. We are doing business correspondence and reporting, the exam. And today the topic in discussion is reading comprehension. Today is the first session. So let's start. Sony, I didn't get you for 35 plus mark in BC&R, MTP, RTP. Well, I would not be suggesting that only do MTP or only do RTP. The maximum you do, the good for you. Okay, please. Something which I always fail to understand is why do you all want to, kind of limit yourself that we're going to do like 3 pages and we can get 40. We're going to do 5 passages and then we're going to get 35 passing marks. Don't do it like that. Do it for your understanding. Do a subject, attempt a paper, because there are many things which go with it. It's just not the BC&R paper which matters. So if you score good, if you score well, won't you feel happy about it rather than just getting passing marks and saying, chalo, we have passed. Okay. So don't have that very specific attitude of just passing the exam. Have a fighter attitude that I really want to score good. Okay, so let's continue. I think I was sharing my screen for example 5. I hope the passage is visible. So we're doing something on globalization, and I was underlining also. I'll just do it in a minute. So it's about globalization. It is a way in which manufacturers and producers sell their products. It provides huge options. It provides a big opportunity. Traders are extending their businesses by treating the world as a global village, which is a very important phrase. Already there was a restriction. So earlier there was a restriction, which probably means now the restrictions have been removed. Moving on to the next line. In India, the globalization and liberalization processes started in 1991. Have you all read this? So you should always have this habit of, underlining or putting a star or, making a small pencil mark across the phrases which you think are going to be relevant in understanding the text. The pinky. The pinky you can check for the website. I think the ICAI website will have the details about the exam details. Okay. I wouldn't be the right person to tell you exams and their dates. You can check. Importance of globalization. Okay, Hera has been fast enough to give me the title. Very good, Samir. Always understand and do it from the exam. Do it from the exam perspective. Do it from a larger perspective. Okay, quickly, let's leave all this. Quickly tell me, have you all read this first slide? Can I change the slide? I'm waiting for your answer. If you say I can change the slide, I'll take you to the second slide, which is a continuation of the first. There's so much to do. You really have to hurry up, guys. We have only 2 hours dedicated to one topic. So I want to finish at least one day's presentation in one class. I don't want to carry it forward. That becomes a little messy and it's a nuisance to remember. Okay, so I had stopped here and then have to carry forward to the next. I'll finish all my slides, which I've decided here only. Okay, so you are not telling me whether you've read this, so I assume you have read it and I'm changing my slide then. Okay, this is the continuation of the passage. After many years, globalization brought about a major revolution in the Indian market when multinational brands came to India and started delivering a wide range of quality products at cheap prices. So the whole establishment changed when the the multinational brands came up into India, and all that came at a very reasonable, at a very cheap price. Quickly read. Okay, thank you, all of you. Naveen, Ayushi, Priyanka, Bhumika, Sanket, Chandan, thank you. Wangchuk, thank you, Priyanka, Varna. Okay, so you all have read, and I've obviously moved on to the next slide. There's this nice word in the last line of the passage, which is bonanza. Can somebody quickly tell me the meaning of bonanza? It's a bonanza for the customers. What does a bonanza mean? I'm waiting for your answers. Of course, read the full slide. Don't hurry. I have this habit of asking you questions in the middle, but I don't want to disturb you. Read the full passage. So I think by now you have understood what is the passage about. It is about globalization. It also mentions liberalization. It talks about how that is going to be the next need of the hour. It is something which is going to take our country ahead. It's talking about local businesses. It's talking about a cutthroat competition in the market. Cutthroat competition is a very tight competition, like one person getting 99, the other getting 99.6, the other getting 99.7, the other getting 99.8. That's called cutthroat competition. Okay. Bonanza meaning, you tell me, no, Mohammed, I'm asking you. Yeah, that's very true, Shiba. After globalization, I think the choices in the market have really grown up. So I'm not going to explain the passage to you, but what I want you to do is you tell me your understanding. So how do you think of what is globalization? What is your aspect of globalization? What do you think when I say it is a loss to small scale Indian producers? The last line says globalization has been a bonanza for the consumers. So I am a consumer. I want to go and buy a pair of shoes. It's a bonanza because I have Nike, I have Adidas, I have Asics, I have Skechers, I have New Balance, I have Bata, which is an Indian make. Then I have Campus, Action Campus shoes. So I have so much of variety when I need to buy just one pair of shoes. Okay. So it's definitely a bonanza for me. Bonanza means like a sudden wealth. So much of wealth coming suddenly. It's like a gold dig, something like that. But it's a loss to the small scale Indian producers. Why? Why do you think this is the case with globalization? Because my intent is now moving to buying foreign produced goods, to buying brands which have a multinational value, which are probably there on in the global market, than just buying products which are locally made, Indian made, domestic made. So I wouldn't go and buy an artifact from an Indian artisan, from somebody sitting in the valleys of Kashmir and weaving a shawl. I wouldn't buy that. I would rather go and buy something which is maybe coming from a designer from the Italian fashion house. Why? Because globalization has made us aware of the different brands. Globalization has inculcated in us that if you're buying a foreign brand, it's kind of cool, it's kind of trending, it kind of, it shows your smartness. But on the other side of it, the irony is we are not promoting Indian small scale industry, we are not promoting Indian handicrafts, we are not promoting Indian cottage industries. And that's what the last line is hinting at. Okay, so I'm discussing all this with you because I assume that you are all now at a level where I'm not supposed to go line by line for a passage, but I can definitely discuss on the whole, like what exactly is there here. So my intent is you should be able to think between the lines, you should be able to read between the lines, you should be able to give me your opinion, and I can discuss with you on, on a one-on-one friendly basis, rather than only stick to, okay, what is the meaning of the word, what is the meaning of the last line, not like that. Yeah, exactly, you're very true, Kushagu. Exactly, Priyanka. So it's actually the survival of the fittest. It's like Charles Darwin's theory. So if you're fit and smart and competitive enough, you exist in the market. If you fail to adhere to the upcoming technology, if you fail to adapt, if you fail to change, then maybe nobody will even remember you, nobody will want to buy your product. Okay, so this is a very interesting topic. I think I can, discuss it with you. So how many of you personally do you think you have been affected by globalization? So you tend to buy the global brands more than the local made, Indian made brands. Maybe they're not even brands, it's just a shoe made from some shoe shop which is just down the line, down the market road. You wouldn't buy that, but you will definitely buy a pair of sneakers or a pair of Jordans or a pair of high end shoes, or at least you aspire to buy. Maybe you're not buying today, but once you reach a certain level in your life, you will definitely want to own that brand or possess that brand. So that is how globalization has made us inclined towards the bigger names than the local names. So if I'm asking you on a very, a friendly note, how many of you think you have been victims of globalization? Can you please answer that? Yeah, we all should encourage discussions. That's the only way we can understand passages. If you simply read and then, okay, what is the meaning of globalization? What is the meaning of liberalization? Why should we say it's a cutthroat competition? Standard questions everybody can answer. Even if I give you the PRC paper right now, you will be able to do it. But unless you think beyond the lines, unless you sit and actually probe into the area and think, okay, what would I do if I was a victim of globalization? How can I cure this if it's a problem? That thought itself makes you so enriched and enlightened that you become so good in reading, you become so good in understanding. Very true, Abdul. Simple examples are mobile phone. So you always want to buy an iPhone or a Samsung. Okay, Shiva, I understand. But at the cost of the Indian industry. Very good, Gopal. Foreign product will become cheaper. Okay. Okay, Kushagra, understood. Exactly, Mohammed. Globalization means population in the old world. Really? Is it only about population? Is it not about the market? Is it not about the economy? Is it not about more products? Is it not about more variety in the market, even if it's FMCGs or it's any other product? Okay, so if I ask you what is the idea behind this passage, the idea behind this passage is I have to be I have to be understanding one, what is globalization? What are the benefits of globalization? It's providing opportunities, it's the way manufacturing happens. It gives huge options to big businessmen. It's kind of a movement in progression. It started in India in 1991. So the agenda or the intent was to have a progressive market, to have a progressive industrial growth. And when I move on to the last part of the passage, it says it's kind of invaded with foreign quality products, which is not allowing the Indian small scale producers to grow big. So that is like a negative associated with the whole concept or the whole phenomena of globalization. Okay. Right, Priyanka. I'm sure everybody likes. Exactly, Prasad. Local traders, very true. So, what you are all saying is very true. It's more about a deeper aspect which runs behind globalization. Now, I can say you all have understood the passage. So, my idea is read a passage, take a minute, think about it. Why is this happening? How has that affected me? Can I come out with a solution? What is the effect on the economy? What is the effect on the poor people? What is the effect on maybe the so called upper class? What is the effect on the economy or the GDP of the country? When you start thinking after reading, my purpose is solved. That means you have started to understand the text. That means you have started to comprehend, and give back after reading the text. Okay, good. Okay, now we'll move on to the need for reading 4. See, I have this slide, which is the most important need to read. Then I want you to read 6, some important aspects. Then there is another passage. Then there are some questions which follow. Then there is another passage, which is this, and I'm going to discuss the tones and styles. So this is my agenda. Now, even if I don't show you all the slides, I at least want you to understand the whole concept of the need to read, because that is very important. If you are able to grasp that, you will always come up as a good reader. Okay, fine. So the need for reading number 4 is to be able to differentiate between actions. Now, for example, there was this passage on globalization. If I ask you to analyze the passage, analyzing a passage means you are going to critically analyze it, like, okay, why did the author use this word? Why is he using this particular phrase? What makes him say XYZ line? That is analysis. How true is the author? How much of hard work has gone behind the author's writing this passage? So you are going to do a kind of research on the whole passage and every bit of the line. That is analysis. Then comes prediction. So after having read a passage, if you are able to understand what's going to happen in the future, that's prediction. So by reading this passage on globalization, if I'm able to tell you that, okay, so which means the small scale Indian producer is not going to have a bonanza in soon coming times. The small scale Indian producer will be facing troubled times because there is not much of a market for his handmade products. The cottage industry in India is going to get affected because handicrafts are being sold at a very high price and people have now started preferring machine-based products. So that's kind of a prediction I'm making about the future. That's how I justify the second word. Third is inference. Inferences, hence this might happen. So when I ended my line in the passage with the fact that it's a loss to the small scale Indian producers, can I infer that 10 years down the line, there will not be any handicraft makers or there will not be any artisans who are small scale Indian producers? Why? That's kind of a long term conclusion I'm making. I'm not concluding it because it's not justified. I'm inferring it because I can feel it. So any conclusion which is kind of coming out from the passage, but it is not clearly given, is called an inference. The word infer means to understand out of the passage, but it's not directly given. Okay, got it, all of you? That's the third word. Now comes the word evaluation. Evaluation is nothing but evaluate. So if I'm seeing an answer and somebody asks me, okay, evaluate this answer, so I'll say, okay, he has giving a reason to why I'm giving a score. So if I say this person will get like 5 on 8 or 5 out of 10, so I'm evaluating what all options could have been possible, what all better could this child have done, what all things has he gone wrong at. That's evaluation. It's kind of an assessment. Okay, got it? Clear till here? Any doubts? I'm just going to be quiet for a second. You guys quickly tell me in the comment section, is there a doubt? Is there something you want to add on? You want to tell me? You want to question? You want to infer something? Tell me whatever it is. Then we'll continue with the next slide. Good to go, all of you? Yeah, I'm reading your answer, Samir. Very true. Shiba, you are also correct. Anything else you want to say about the passage, the content, or we can move on? Okay, so I haven't got any answers. Maybe it's taking a while to upload in my comment section. So I assume this part is clear. It's all clear till here. Thank you so much. Yeah, Samir, very true. Inference, I just now told you, Chandan. I'll tell you. Okay, Priyanka, Archana, Abhay, Bhumika, Ajitaba. Very good. Thank you so much. It's clear. Inference is basically when you're trying to reach a conclusive statement on the basis of what you can derive out of the passage. It is not straightforwardly given. So a conclusion in maths is like LHS is equal to RHS, hence proved. So in English, that hence proved happens, but it's not as logical as 2 plus 2 is 4. It's not as logical as LHS is equal to RHS. I can infer it because there are certain lines said about it which are hinting towards that. So I can inference. I can infer it. So inference is like a hidden conclusion which you are deriving out from the passage. Okay. Okay, crystal clear. Thanks, Priyanka. Fine. Thank you so much. I just now explained Rishabh. Sameer, I think that's quite unsure. Why does the prediction become wrong? I don't think so. Prediction will become wrong. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Fine. So we'll move to the next slide. Okay, example 6. Uh, Evaluation. Okay, I just now told you, evaluation means to give something a value. So I evaluate the possibilities and I'll answer back. So let me think about the possible values that particular agenda or proposal has. Then I'll answer back. That is what evaluation means. Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Now, this is a tough passage. It's not even put in order. You can see you can see from some words it is about disease, it is about disorder, etc., etc. So you might not enjoy reading the passage, but I've just given it because I wanted you to be aware of all the very different possible aspects of reading comprehension. So just go through the passage. Don't give me like extra details. Don't even get into very technical words like iatrogenic, anaphylaxis. You don't have to understand the meaning of that. I wanted to give you an idea that there might be a passage where there are some very hardcore scientific words. The jargon used is very, very scientific. It might not be of use to you, but you still get an understanding of the passage. That's what I want to prove by this example. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Chandan and Dhyanesh. It's clear now. Great. Thank you so much for telling me it's clear. It's rather crystal clear. Some of you have written. So quickly read this passage, example number 6, and see how much of it are you able to fathom. There might be some words which are a little difficult. Maybe you haven't heard them, but that's okay. I'll just underline some of them. Don't worry about these specific scientific words, anaphylactic shock, bronchoconstriction. Don't even bother. They're not going to help you or discourage you from understanding the passage. So that should not be an obstacle at all. Finished reading? Okay, so the first three lines, the first line, in fact, specifically, it's very interesting. Cured of my disease, but I died of my physician. So there is a pun intended, there is a slight humor here. You should be able to appreciate that. Uh, Not visible. Why, Alok? Alok, I think you only are facing problems because the others have been reading the passages. And I think last time also you only said that it's not visible. So please check once at your end. Things are pretty much okay at my end. So if you see the passage is about how a disease might get cured, but probably because the physician is not smart and the physician is not wise enough to give you or prescribe you the right drugs, you might have more troubles. So that's what Mr. Matthew Pryor, a celebrated pharmacologist, is telling you. I was cured of the disease, but probably the physician did not know, so he kind of killed me. Okay. There is no dearth of patients dying of misguided treatment. This is a fact, globally stated, that there are so many people who die because the treatment, the line of treatment is not correct. It's not the disease which kills them, but probably the right way of curing did not happen. I've underlined those words. Some drugs play havoc. Havoc is they just create a disaster, they create a chaos, and they really create troubles. Then there is a word like deleterious. Deleterious means harmful. Second line, the word has been underlined for all of you. It means harmful. Hmm. Samir, I didn't get you. I mean, why are we discussing management and why are we discussing analysis here? Can you please explain a little bit what exactly is your question? Okay, Alek, Alafia, fine. Side effects of a misdiagnosed disease, okay, correct. So all of you have understood. Now, the third paragraph, which is a little intense, which is a little in detail, it's just about giving you examples. So whenever you have, whenever you're trying to justify your point, this is my personal suggestion also, always give examples to prove your point. And that's what this passage is doing. It's talking about penicillin, it's talking about analgin, which is a drug, and whenever it's administered, it causes certain reactions, especially in cases of bronchial asthma, pregnancy, renal hepatitis dysfunctions, etc. So again, I'm repeating my statement. Don't get into the nitty gritties of the scientific aspect of the passage. Just understand that it starts with it starts with a little sarcastic line. It moves on to how, in this era of drugs, there is a special kind of a problem called an iatrogenic disease, which is a physician-caused ailment, which means the disease is caused just because the physician is giving you wrong drugs. The third paragraph talks about examples, and finally there is the term side effects in the part of a ailing layman's vocabulary, which says whenever you eat an xyz medicine which was curing you of fever, but unfortunately you start having a headache or you start having an arm pain, you say side effect, side effect, side effect. That's what is in an ailing layman's vocabulary. Ailing is like falling ill. Layman is somebody who has no knowledge. He's an amateur, he's a novice, he's like a common man. So, for a common man, all these big words don't matter. What matters is I ate a medicine, I should get cured. Okay? So, I'm kind of discussing the passages with you because I want you to come at a platform where discussions are possible rather than understanding each line, each word, and pointing out why not. Talk about the passage, talk about the theme behind the passage, indulge in a discussion, and then I think you will better understand what the passage is about. What is the problem, Samir? That's what I'm asking you. What is the problem in your management and your analysis? Managing what? Managing studies, you mean? An analysis of what? That's what I'm asking you. Okay. So, meanwhile, let's move on to the next slide. So, this is done. Passage 6 is clear. Sorry. Okay. Right. So these are some important aspects which we're going to discuss in the following slides, the main idea. So for every passage which we have discussed till now, I've been asking you the main idea. What is the crux of the passage? What is the summary in 2 lines? Why do you think the author has written this passage? All that has I have been covering. Then comes the secondary idea. Secondary idea is just one sec. Priyanka, will these be uploaded? These will be uploaded. Yes, of course. The slides will be there. You don't worry. The whole presentation will be there on the YouTube, the live YouTube channel of ICAI. You can see the whole thing again and you can take your time and understand. You can put your comments there. You can send your direct questions. So don't worry. Even if you miss the slide, miss reading the slide, all this will be straight away uploaded. Fine. So let's come back to the important aspects. So these are some 6 different aspects of a passage which you should understand and you should be able to appreciate. So main idea, we have been discussing that. Secondary idea, is there an underlying topic which the author also wants to talk about? Like, for example, the globalization passage. The intent was globalization, but I think with globalization, there was also some little, wee bit discussion of liberalization. Got it? So that's kind of a secondary idea to the main idea. And then sometimes are tertiary ideas, which are called underlying points. Underlying points are those hidden. They don't come on the face of it, but they do make some importance in the passage. Okay, they are called the tertiary points. Then the vocabulary. So new words, heavy words, high-flying words, all these words mean the same. Words that we don't generally use in our daily conversation. That's what vocabulary refers to. Difference between facts and opinions. So remember the first passage we did on coconut, it had a lot of facts. The height of a coconut tree, the statistics, the yield in percentage, the harvest, etc. Those are facts. And opinions will be when I'm talking of a more philosophical based passage, for example, a passage on dreams. That will have an opinion because that's what I feel about my dream and that's what I feel about any dream, but that's not like a scientific proven fact. So these are all topics which comes under pseudoscience. Okay, so there I can have opinions. Last of all, the tone, the style, and the mood of the author. Now, the tone, the style of the mood is something which we're going to discuss at length in the forthcoming classes. So, is the passage giving me information? Is the passage provoking me? Is the passage insulting some particular topic? Is the passage just written in praise of somebody? Is the passage giving me a lot of information? Is it describing an aspect? Based on what exactly the passage is doing, we decide the tone, the style, and the mood of the author. Also, a lot of vocabulary used helps us to judge the mood of the author. So if he's in an angry mood and he's like unhappy with certain issues, he'll have all the negative aspects being used. But if he's only praising, it's like a eulogy. Eulogy is written in praise of somebody. Okay, I'll just put that word here. Okay, this is the word eulogy. Eulogy is written in praise of somebody. You means good, logi means writing. So good writings. Okay. Collocations are also the way you use a word. Okay, collocations are ways of using the word in a certain context. So suppose there is a word like polite and there is a word like innocent. There is a way lot of a difference between somebody being polite, but we always use it as a combination. He's very polite and innocent. That's not the right way. So collocation is basically referring to the exact context in which a certain word should be used. Nikhil, you can write your queries and put them here. I will definitely be able to see them once you put them here in the chat box in the comment section. When I'm seeing you again in the next class, I'll take them up initially. Okay, first 5 minutes, I'll take up all the relevant queries. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, this is done with important aspects. So I don't have to discuss each of them because most of the classes I have bifurcated in such a way that I'll be doing tone style mode in one section, I'll be doing kinds of passage in the other section. Today, my intent was to make you aware of the different possible aspects of reading. So there are, if I'm not wrong, there are two more examples which I want you to read, passage 7 and passage 8. These are some tones and styles which we will discuss, and that would be the end of the class. So I request all of you, please quickly read the 7th passage. It's about power foods, how they enrich your nutrient, fiber, potassium, mineral content in the body. And they've given you a lot of examples, and power foods have strongly been recommended for gym enthusiasts. Thank you so much, Shiba. I really appreciate that you are understanding the class and you are with me at every level. Thank you so much. Okay, please read this passage number 7. Don't get restrained by the length of the passage. It's not that difficult, so don't see how many words do I have to read. Just start reading. Samir, I don't know why are we discussing salary doubling and salary tripling in your company? How does the concept of management relate to my subject of reading comprehension? If you could please explain. The objective of your company is the sales double in every month. So you need to study a bit of management for this. You need to understand the sales and marketing theory. How do they work? You need to understand various aspects of supply chain. You need to understand how does marketing happen and what is your product. Keeping that in mind, only you will be able to analyze the problem. So the problem is not increase in sales. The problem is all the related concentric circles around that increase in sales. Who is your target audience? What is your customer acquisition cost? All that will help you analyze this problem. Okay. Okay, Priyanka has read. Thank you so much. Health is wealth, Shiva says. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much for answering. So this is my passage. It's continued here. I'm taking you to the next slide. Would you please mind reading the second half of the passage also? So I think the first page is concentrating on chickpeas. Chickpeas is something very good. The last word, cilantro, is kind of a herb. So next time you have some friends around, serve them some iced green tea with mint and lemon juice. So did you realize this is a passage which is based on health consciousness? It's kind of teaching you how to be healthy, giving you examples of what all combination of foods you should use to make your body healthy, carbohydrates and proteins and yogurts and banana smoothies. So just realize, even if you have read such content, you know the style of writing. Even if you have read content which is based on dreams or based on globalization or based on coconut trees, you've got that knack of presenting in a certain way. Reading indirectly will also help you in writing in a structured manner. Okay. Nikhil, hard words. Yeah, cilantro is Gopal Krishna has explained easily. Cilantro equals to dhania equals to coriander. Okay, fine. Need for reading, Samir Singh. Okay. Analysis. Yeah, so analysis is you need to sit and read and understand why a problem is happening. hard words, Nikhil, the only way is, of course, when you are in the midst of an exam, you can't be using a dictionary, you can't be using any Google search. But when you're practicing, when you're in the house, when you're just doing a sample paper, then refer to a dictionary. So sometimes what happens is some hard words don't make a difference in your understanding of the passage. But sometimes what happens is they make a difference, because if you don't understand that word, then you can't move forward in that line. So that's the reason why I keep saying that please read a lot so that you are familiar with as many words as possible. And there comes a time when there is no hard word in the passage you are reading. Okay. So hard word is just like, by luck, what might be hard for you might not be hard for your friend, or vice versa. So to tackle that problem, if you have one, it's easy to say, please have a strong vocabulary. And for that, of course, you have to read. Also, you should try and guess the meaning of the word. In English, there is something which we call a wise guess. So when I read the sentence, I'm able to guess whether this word has positive connotations or negative connotations. Is it helping me understand what the author is saying, or is it distracting me? Is it actually relevant in this sentence or not? With such questions, you are able to tackle the problem of hard words. Okay? Okay. Finish it, all of you. I think most of you have answered that you have finished. Okay, somebody is asking me what are catechins. These are all compounds. If you remember some bit of your chemistry, these are substances which help you protect the cells. They are all crystalline compounds. Fine. Okay, so finished reading. Fine. Any other doubt? Eat it to be fit. Okay. Health is interrelated to success. Fine. Power food, the pool of nutrients. Very good, Chandan. When you have a healthy lifestyle, you can achieve everything in your life. Good. So it's like more health than wealth. Okay. Good. So I'll change the slide now. So what are power foods? You should be able to answer. I'm not bringing you back to that slide, but if you are allowed to see the slide, you should be able to answer. What are the rules regarding the partaking of power foods? So are there any prescribed rules which you should follow when you're taking power foods? You can't just take anything and everything at any point of the day. So the rules are mentioned. Why is green tea recommended as a power food? There was a line about the catechins. What is the advantage of combining green tea with lemon juice? If you can see, Purdue University says adding a dash of lemon juice to green tea makes the catechins even more easily absorbable by the body. Okay, so first thing is you should be able to answer all the questions. Second thing is you should not be turning back to the passage every time for each question. So passage should have been understood at least 60%, so that out of 4 questions, at least there are 3 questions which I'm not skipping back to see the answer. I know the answer by myself. If you know the answer by yourself, you have read the passage very well. Okay. Now here, this is a small task. I want you to do all of you can try this. When this presentation will obviously be uploaded, you can see it again. So once we are done with the live class, come to this passage, think of the primary and the secondary issues which are discussed, and write a 3 to 4 line possible summary for the passage. Okay. If you can, of course, I'll be happy if you can, if time permits and bandwidth permits. So once this lecture is uploaded, come back to this slide, answer these 2 questions written in the red line below the first 4 questions. And when I meet you in the next class, I'm going to ask you, so what are the primary issues of this passage, which was based highly on power foods? What were the secondary issues? And if you can show me a sum, you can do one of the questions, that's okay. Even if you don't do both, it's perfectly fine with me. So just try and give it a, okay, give it some time. Okay, so this brings us to the last passage, which is overconfidence. This is like a moral based passage. This is more about humanity. This is more about me, myself, mine, etc. So please give it a quick read. So when do you think a person is overconfident? When you when you got when you kind of over assess your capabilities, when you kind of think that I'm capable of everything. There is nothing in this world which stops me, and I'm good at X, I'm good at Y, I'm good at Z, I'm good at speaking, I'm good at listening, I'm good at maths, I'm good at social. So that overconfidence starts reflecting because you don't have that power of criticism, you don't accept criticism, then you are said to be overconfident. Okay, so please read the passage quickly. So a very important advice which I give people is whenever you think there is overconfidence in some friend of yours, in some relative of yours, or in yourself, just learn to say sorry. Learn to accept that you might also go wrong because you are a human. So this last line in the passage very bluntly focuses on that. It says, I was wrong. This is how you should understand the passage. By saying I was wrong, you are actually apologizing. This is the deeper meaning behind the passage. Okay? This is a famous quote which I thought I can just share with you. Okay? To err is to human, to forgive divine, which means it's like very human behavior if you make an error because we humans are made like that. And if you forgive someone for somebody else's fault, you become God. You get the stature of God. This is very divine. Okay. So the aspect of having overconfidence is a sin. Similarly, the aspect of having overconfidence is a sin. And if you accept your mistake and you apologize, you are divine because there is no harm in saying sorry. And that's what the whole passage is talking about, with a very strong reference to Napoleon Bonaparte, the French emperor, once the French emperor. Read all of you? Finish the passage till the last line. There isn't any next slide, so you can just quickly go through here only. Okay, I'm so sorry. There is a bit on the next page also. So the passage is kind of pointing out and trying to figure out what happens when you become overconfident. What is the flaw with such people? What do they start thinking? What is their approach to reality? How does that become a habit which probably causes damage to all the people related? So on the whole, the passage is talking about a psychological issue like overconfidence, which is not a disease or a disorder. It's just a moral aspect of a person. How does it happen? Why does it develop? How can you cope with it? How can you correct it? And what are the characteristics of those people? Because it's a flaw in the whole structure. It's a flaw in a person. So overconfidence definitely leads to failure, and you should not always be obsessed about yourself. There are many other things which you can think of, you know, besides you, yourself, me, mine. Got it? That's what the passage is emphasizing at. Okay. Okay, Neha, Priyanka, Chandan, read. Very good. So what my purpose today in the class was to make you familiar with different aspects of passages, something in science, psychology like dreams, something in economics, which was on globalization, something in moral virtues, which is confidence, something in, geography maybe, or more about the vegetation aspect when we discussed coconuts, something about what was the last passage? Health, in the health sector, about power foods. So my idea is to take you through all these passages so that you are aware that this is the kind of variety you can expect in your exam. So don't expect a standard set that I'm going to get passages only about politics or only about sports. No. And if you read so much, you will definitely be even more comfortable and confident while attempting the paper. Okay. Now, this is the last slide which I have. So these are about the tones and styles. What are the possible tones of the author? So if I say he's humorous, he's kind of creating fun. He's kind of creating comedy. If I say he's laudatory, he's kind of appreciating things. So a laudatory tone is basically in praise, written in praise. If I say he's acerbic or she's acerbic, acerbic is very, very acute, very, very acidic. So he's kind of insulting the person and finding faults to the maximum. Okay, so these are some standard words used for the tones of an author. Correspondingly, it's not styles, it's just style. So don't try and match acerbic and narrative, cynical and analytical. There is no correspondence between them. It's just an individual list of tones and individual list of styles. So when I say what is the style of the passage, the style of the passage is informative, which means I'm getting a lot of information. For example, the passage which was based on coconuts was informative. Okay. If I say analytical, the passage which was based on dreams is analytical. Okay. If I say descriptive, the passage which was based on power foods is descriptive. Argumentative, there is a tone of fight in an argumentative passage. So these are some standard vocabulary words which we use to describe the tone and the style. So I'm just making you familiar with that. Okay. So Yukti, October study material. Yeah, you can use October, September, everything. If you have the latest version, very good. Otherwise, you can definitely refer to the RTPs and the MTPs. That's going to be of good help. Okay. So, that's okay, Shiva. Asit, it's not just short questions. For the reading comprehension, you might just get to write one lines also. So don't think that it's going to be only MCQs. Just one-liner answers are also possible. Fine. When you refer to the mock test papers, when you refer to the revision test papers, which are uploaded on the website, you will get a fair idea about what kind of questions are given. Okay. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you all for being so active with me in class. Thanks a lot for answering all the questions and reading all the passage with dedication. I hope you have been able to familiarize yourself with all the variety of topics that are possible in the exam. PCR is a very interesting paper. Please don't concentrate on getting only passing marks. Always concentrate on doing your best. Please strive for the best. At least there should be a vision in your mind that, why can't I get a complete 40 on 40 or 100 on 100 instead of just getting a passing mark score. So for that reason, if you have to read a lot, whether it's a newspaper or a magazine, please start today. Next class, I will expect better answers. I will expect even more participation and more proactive behavior in class. Okay. On that note, I thank you all. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. And see you again day after with the second session of reading comprehension. Thank you very much, students.